Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to continue our cutting compound contest, and in particular we're going to take a look at the Sonax Cut Max. I've never used this before. I'm really looking forward to putting it through its paces and looking forward to see if it breaks into our metals table here. And speaking of that, we still have the 3D HD Cut Plus at gold. We have Ardex at silver. We have Car Pro Clear Cut holding on the bronze. So we're going to put this to the test today and see if it scrambles things up a bit. You can purchase Sonax Cut Max in 3 individual sizes, a 250 milliliter for $17.99. Also comes in a 1,000 milliliter for $49.99. Also comes in a large size 5-liter bottle for $179.99. As I always do, I'm going to dump a little out on the panel and see what kind of abrasives I can feel or I can see, if I can at all. And actually, with this individual compound, I can't feel or see any abrasives, really. Usually when I see some coarse abrasives, it's going to lead to a little bit of dusting, and in some cases may even leave holograms behind, but I cannot feel any with this. That isn't the case in every compound we test, but in a high percentage. What I'm doing here is making sanding marks in 5 separate sections. A 2500 grit where I'm starting here, and we'll go all the way down to 800 grit. This is a 2000 grit section, and we're going to remove those tape marks then, and we're going to run a polisher with the compound on it, spread out evenly all the way down through from one end and back. Its label indicates it can remove some heavy defects or blemishes. It's odorless, silicone-free, has a long working cycle, and resists dusting, and I can't wait to test that today. Okay, this next section is the 1000 grit. This is where they pretty much all start to have some serious problems. They start to fail a little bit. And it isn't until we get into the next section where they're really not designed to take care of the flaw that we cause here. But it sure is fun to see some of these compounds get awful close in removing them. So during these tests, what are we looking for? We're looking for how it cuts, its open, or its work time, or its cycle time. We're going to see how the product wipes off, the residue once it's used and has been spent. We're also looking for dusting. So taken into consideration before we decide if it's going to break into our metals table, the top 3 are price, odor, consistency. Absolutely everything is broken down before we make a decision. As usual, we will be using the Flex XFE 71280 3-inch polisher, and attached to that will be a standard orange cutting pad, something you would find in Grios or Buff and Shine. Now what we're going to do is I have the product spread out evenly throughout all the sections. That's done. So we're going to run a slow, exaggerated path all the way down through to the other end from the 2500 grit to the 800 grit. We're going to make a return trip. That gives some extended working time, and it also gives enough passes to see it work through all these sections. We will then come in, see what kind of lubrication we have left. We're going to see how it wipes off, how the residue wipes off, and we're going to see how it cuts through all those sections. The Sonax Cut Max claims to be able to remove 1000 grit sanding marks or higher easily, and it also claims to have residue that is easy to remove, even in climates with high humidity. And I totally understand that sunlight, heat, and humidity are an issue with you guys out on the road. Keep in mind, I'm doing these tests in a controlled environment, in a shop. I'm out of the sunlight. So the way I have things set up on the metals table on the chart may differ for you slightly. But this series gives you a chance to see how the compound works, gives you its price, its working time, and how you can remove its residue and its dusting. And you can put that information with other sources. If you happen to be in the market for a strong or a heavy cut compound, you're way ahead of the game. By the way, the videos for this series are spread out between 3, 4, and 5 days apart. That gives me time to do this test, and also I take the compound out into the field, out into the work shop area, and I do a paint correction or two with these products. In real life situations, I get to use the product with different pads, microfiber, foam. I get to correct scratches or orange peel or maybe overspray, oxidation. Our pass from one end to the other and back is complete. Let's come in close and take a look. There is plenty of lubrication and product left to do another pass or two. And wiping off residue from a panel is easy and effortless. Very good so far. Starting up at the 2500 grit, where a lot of the compounds blast through these first 2 or even 3 sections with ease. There were a few compounds, and there will be more coming up that start to have a problem at 1500 grit already. But when we look into the section with the 1000 grit, there's only really a couple deep gashes that it didn't get. It did very well. And when we come down to the ridiculous section here of the 800 grit, it actually had a great attempt. Now, as I get an angle so I can use the light above me, I could show you there's no haze left behind. It actually finishes pretty far where you could just grab an ultra fine polish and finish out from there. Now, this next little side test I like to do next will be on the section with the 800 grit and the 1000 grit, the last 2 sections. So we're going to work the product for, a long period of time, crisscross section, up and down, then left and right. And we're going to test how long the cycle is, or the open time, or the work time is for the compound until it starts to flash and we just have an oily residue left over on the substrate. We also like to use this area here for testing for dusting. And we're also going to remove the residue, see how that is, if it's easy or hard to remove the residue. And then we'll see how it took care of those last 2 sections. Did it remove all the marks in the 1000 grit? Did it attempt to remove any other marks on the 800 grit section? Alright, that's going to do it. And a tip for those who want to keep their polisher and pads in good shape: never lift the polisher until you power it down and it stops oscillating and rotating. So let's come in close and take a look at the Sonax Cut Max. We have a ton of lubrication left over, still some product. It hasn't completely flashed yet, and very, very, very little residue to look at. A couple pieces and flakes left here and there. So we're going to remove the spent product, which is no problem whatsoever. With the residue removed, we want to see what the Sonax can do with these 2 sections here. It has done incredible with the 1000 grit section and has done a very, very good job. Guys, this stuff here is the real deal. If you have been following the series, these 2 sections here are rather difficult with the pass that I make on it with a 3-inch polisher and the standard pad, and this stuff is very impressive. Now, if you want to see if it breaks into the metals table, you'll have to wait towards the end of the video where I break that back out. This stuff here is a little bit more pricey than the 3D HD. However, it outperforms it by a little bit. Okay guys, I'm going to put a link down below for the medium size Sonax, and through that link you'll find the medium and large size. You may have to do a search to find the little 250 milliliter. It's not quite as easy to find as the other two sizes. They're usually put together on different sites. If you follow the links that I have down below, and I'm going to put links down in the comments section also for everything that's on the metals table and in the consolation area, because they're all great compounds. But if you follow those links and make any purchase, it'll give the channel credit to then go ahead, turn around, and reinvest that into products for upcoming series. I have a lot of series coming. I want to do a finishing polish series. I want to do glass cleaner, interior cleaner. I want to do some sealant series. So we have a lot coming up, a lot to look forward to. So this has been a pleasure to work with. I'm glad I finally got to try it, and it really shakes things up on our leaderboard, because to me, this is 1A and 1B. This outperforms it by just a little bit. This has a great price. So you could put either one, but since we just did this, this is going to be our new gold holder. This is the Sonax Cut Max. Goes up into the top notch. We have Ardex coming down into bronze, and we have 3D HD cut making a little slip down into silver. We have our consolation area, the CarPro Clear Cut, the Last Cut, Adams Heavy Correction Compound. Again, I have to reiterate, take all of these, put it on a board, throw a dart at it, and if you are not concerned at price whatsoever, these will work well in your arsenal. If you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate. Brian from Apex Detail. Catch you in the next video.